Simplifying the process of connectivity for the customer and establishing a long-term relationship of trust through transparency and accountability. ABS Communications is a top 5 AT&T authorized agent with over 200 years of AT&T technical experience. You can call Mark and the gang at 615-349-8588, or you can visit their website at abscomm.net. And remember, mention the McFarland Show to ABS, and you could get up to $250 in a Visa gift card for new ABS business customers.
Douglas is a real Prevagen user and paid testimonialist.
My name is Douglas. I'm 79 and I live in Chicago. I'm a writer, director. I used to be a marathon runner. Now I'm a walker. And the kind of work that I do, you are surrounded by people who are all younger than you. Memory became a factor. As everyone gets older, where did I put my keys? But I had to get help to stay competitive. I happened across Prevagen, and I started taking it. I saw myself having an improved memory, which at the same time, I felt better about myself. I could not be doing what I'm doing today had it not been for Prevagen.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Prevagen is available in stores everywhere. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Broadcasting live from the Strike and Spare studio, it's time for the Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid, highlighting and focusing on women in sports around the country, from the pros to the amateurs, from high schools to colleges. Call the Power Hour now on the Cure Brand Hotline, 615-844-5600, 615-844-5600. Now here's your host for the Power Hour, Sammy Kincaid.
Welcome into Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. I'm Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. If you want to call in, talk to us on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600, 615-844-5600. And we have got a fun show planned for you today. We're joined in studio. Well, you can't see her right now. You will see her in a little bit, though. Casey White is going to be joining us in a little bit from Star Physical Therapy. Really excited to have her on. She swam at Kentucky, and she's going to give us a lot of insight from swimming and now what she's doing physical therapy. But first, Devlin, are you ready to talk some ball?
Let's do it.
All right. Did you watch any bowl games yesterday?
I really didn't have much time, seeing as like I was pretty much in here for the most part. But I saw the scores, and I did see the end of the Miami game, ending in an absolute heartbreak. Last tackle at the end could not represent Ohio. That's a shame.
Well, also, one of my friends coaches Miami of Ohio. He's special teams coordinator. So
Really?
My heart just broke for them.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of the Titans Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it was really just a flashback to that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, good for them for making a bowl game. You know, got to take pride in that. Decent season.
But ends on the 2-yard line.
Couldn't get it done.
And there really was not a whole lot of offense in either game that happened yesterday. There's a whole lot of defense.
No, yeah, what was the other one?
UTSA and Troy.
18-12 was the final score, which is not something you see very often. But
not very often, but on Wednesday, whenever we were in here talking on the afternoon stretch, we were talking about Tennessee, Florida, ending 10-9. That was a rough game to watch.
That's a football game?
Yeah, that was a football game in 2014
season? Yeah, that must have been a real thriller.
Yeah, no, that was a tough one. It was giving me flashbacks to that.
Were you at that game?
I was at that game.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, but you know what? That's what I was saying. Neyland Stadium was still rocking. It was insane, despite it being a 10-9 game.
Was that a noon kickoff?
It was actually, no, it was a night game.
Okay.
It was a night game.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Get a good night's sleep.
Yeah. But today we got some good games. You got a lot of bowl games and also pro games. You got your alma mater playing first game.
Yeah, and Cincinnati's not favored in this one for a reason. I don't really know. I've never been a big believer in Cincinnati football, especially when I was there. I couldn't stand the team. I'm just an Ohio State guy through and through, but, Ohio State didn't accept me. So
you're an Ohio State guy through and through. You have a sweatshirt on right now, so I can't call you out, but I can guarantee it's a Cincinnati T-shirt on under that with your Ohio State hat.
Actually, it is. It is a Cincinnati T-shirt. It's not even a like a University of Cincinnati T-shirt. It's a thrifted like 1986 fraternity T-shirt that I got at just some random thrift store. It's actually really cool, but it is a Cincinnati shirt.
I'm not surprised. But Louisville is favorited by 2 in that one for the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Do you think that they're going to have some? That's like always my favorite place to go eat at the Japanese restaurants where they cook in front of you.
I'm actually looking forward to this game. It's in Fenway Park. That's not something you see very often. Well, I mean, I think last year's was at Wrigley. I think they had a game at Wrigley. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, having a football game at Fenway Park in Boston has got to be pretty cool to play in. I know at the Wrigley game they only played on one side of the field, right? So like they couldn't go from 100 to like the other side of the field. They went just one side of the field was just the offense, and they would flip it, go back again from the same spot, and then do it again. So I imagine they're going to have to do that again for this game at Fenway, but I'm excited to see just the venue itself. I think that's the one thing I look forward to in some of these games is seeing the different venues and the different locations that they're in, like the Bahamas Bowl. I mean, to be in Tennessee where it's 30 degrees and you watch on your screen and these kids are playing in probably 72 degrees and beautiful weather, not a cloud in the sky, it's just cool to see.
Yeah, no, they showed a graphic yesterday for the Bahamas Bowl, and it was the temperature in the Bahamas, which it was around 70, I think. And then you had the temperature in Ohio and then also in Alabama. And I want to say it was like 32 or 31 in Ohio and then 42 in Alabama. It's like, wow. I mean, have you looked at for the Bills-Dolphins game?
Oh, it looks brutal.
Temps today?
Yeah.
They're going to be playing in the snow. We'll talk about that one later. But definitely really fun just watching. You get to celebrate. And going to these bowl games with the teams like I used to whenever I was working at UCF or working at the universities. It's so much fun just getting to celebrate all the success from the season. And the bowls really do try to take you on different events throughout the week. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, we went and played Topgolf for whenever we were in Arizona. But you also get out and you go to the Children's Hospital and you get to do a lot in the community as well. So it's really fun to get to see all that they get to do. But Bahamas, man, I wish I was working that one.
Yeah, it must have been an awful day to be a player. I mean, geez, I couldn't imagine that. That would be awful.
Yeah, no, I saw Chris Budden was the sideline for that one, and that's actually the very first person I interned for. She was in Knoxville at the NBC affiliate there, so really cool that she got that assignment. Pretty lucky assignment there. But you also got, who else we got today? Florida, Oregon State.
Yeah. What do you think about this one? I don't really. You watch more SEC football than I do, and I know that I'm drawing Anthony Richardson. Is he playing? Is that his name? I'm drawing a blank here. Quarterback, Florida.
It is Anthony Richardson.
Yes. I don't know if he's playing or not. I mean, either way, I don't think he threw a touchdown pass until like week 4 against Tennessee
Yeah,
this year.
he's got 2,500 yards, about 17 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions.
I mean, even if he was playing, I really can't say Florida's going to win this game. But, I mean, he's heading for the NFL draft this year, so I have to imagine he's going to sit this one out.
I'm kind of surprised, though, with Oregon State being 9-3, going against a 6-6 team, and they're only an 8.5-point favorite. Is this where you put your money?
You know, that's a tough question. The bowl games are tough for me. I do love gambling as much as I hate gambling. I might hold my money on this one.
Which game today would you put your money on? I don't know if you're looking at maybe Washington State or Fresno against Fresno State. I mean, it's only a 4.5 line right there. So, I mean, that could be a good one to look at. That's 2:30 game on ABC. And then you got Rice, Southern Miss, 6.5 for Southern Miss. I mean, that could be a good one right there. The Lending Tree Bowl. What is Lending Tree, you think? Lending Tree?
I honestly have no idea. I mean, some of these, I have absolutely no clue where they come from, where they derive from, or the meaning behind them. I have truly no idea.
And we got our first caller on the show, Kenny the Mailman. How you doing this morning?
Great morning to you. By the way, Lending Tree is like an online lending company.
Okay, that's good to know.
Charges way too much. I just wanted to call. Earlier, did I hear this week that you had never had a call to your show?
Yes, you are the first caller of Power Hour.
Excellent. Hopefully a couple of years from now, that'll be a great trivia question.
Kenny the Mailman, the first caller.
but I did. I wanted to thank you for having a local show. You know, some of us are working on Saturdays out here. No, not a lot of people, but it's good right around. And I love hearing local sports and news where you can really boil it down and get to the issue. National shows just barely touch on stuff. So I'm going to be listening to your advertisers and your commercials. I'll write their names down, and when I stop in, I'll say I heard the show. But thanks for having your show, and we'll be listening each week.
Well, I really
Goodbye.
appreciate you listening. I really do appreciate it. We really love trying to have some local athletes on, and today we have Casey White in studio with us, so really excited to dive in with her, talk some. And she's also working with some local athletes, so it's a lot of fun to talk about some of the local teams. And Devlin, you'll be in here during the Vanderbilt game tomorrow. I'll be calling that game, so hopefully I sound a little bit better than with my cold today.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, this is
Man, and that's another thing that I really like featuring on the show, because it is a show about women in sports. And what more can you get than being a new mom, trying to figure out things. And with my daughter being sick, I really picked up this one. I'm learning firsthand what it's like. They're a little petri dish.
sprained ankle, sore throat.
Well, the throat's not sore. It's just really a lot of congestion. So that's the only thing that I can feel right now is just the congestion.
Just affecting the voice.
Just really affecting the voice.
Don't even need it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't need a voice to do radio. But it is a lot of fun to talk some local stuff. And Devlin, I know you love being in here for those Vanderbilt games and get to listen to the call.
Yeah, some of them are actually really exciting. I was in here for a couple overtime games, which were pretty fun to listen to. Jake Lyman does an awesome job. It's fun to work with him. But yeah, it's cool to work on it from this side of the board.
Yeah. So going back to some of these bowl games, though, which one are you most excited for today?
Today, I mean, I don't know. That's if I were to really boil it down, maybe BYU SMU, New Mexico Bowl. I feel like I would rather bet my money on plus odds BMU in that game than to bet plus odds money.
BMU?
Yeah.
Are you gonna just
BYU?
No matter what, you can win if you bet on both of them like that.
Very early, Sammy. It's very early.
No, SMU and BYU, that's the game I was looking at too. SMU's only a 4-point favorite. I think that one could be a fun one to watch.
I mean, Matchup Predictor has it almost 50-50. This is one of those games where if you do have money to put it on something, BYU is not a bad plus money to throw some money on. The money line's not terrible, but the thing is that if I'm going to look forward to another game, I'm not sure how I feel about the Washington State-Fresno State game. That one's kind of tough for me. Florida and Oregon State. I don't like Florida in this at all. I'm a huge underdog bettor. It's my favorite thing to bet is when I find a good underdog. I love throwing money on those. But this week I really don't see many that I like. Maybe NFL, if we talk about that later, I might have something to throw down. But, these bowl games this weekend, I can't say I'm looking forward to them too much. It's just one of those things where I'm really just kind of buckling in and waiting on that Ohio State game.
That Ohio State game, that they're just going to get destroyed by Georgia.
Say what you want, Sammy.
How do you have 3 players that are not going to play in a playoff game? I get it. You want to prepare for the draft, but it's the playoffs we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely have talked about this, and it's tough as an Ohio State fan to watch these guys sit out this week, for the playoff week. But at the end of the day, they got recruited and they came to Ohio State with one goal, and that goal was to make it to the NFL. And if they're already a top prospect in this draft, the only thing, truly, Jackson Smith and Jigba, if he played, his draft stock could go up. But I don't know. I don't really mind the fact that he's sitting out for this one. In knowing his goal, which is to be a first-round draft pick, which is, in my opinion, I think it's inevitable. I think he's one of the best talents in this draft this year. But yeah, at the end of the day, Ohio State's in, Tennessee's not, so I'm not really.
You know what?
You
had to give that little dig, but I like what Casey just asked. She just asked me, if they don't play, do they still get a ring? Say, just hypotheticals. If they win it, they win the Natty, would they still get a ring? Because they didn't play.
Okay, the actual details of it, I don't know. Should or shouldn't? Yeah, they should. because they're a contributor to the team at the end of the day. You know, they're in that locker room. They're with those guys. I think they do deserve the ring if they do make it all the way. But the actual specifics, I am not 100% sure on that. I was 15 when Ohio State won their national championship. I don't exactly remember the details of the guys that were sitting in that game. If they got a ring or not, I imagine they did. But yeah, I mean, if they should or shouldn't, my opinion is that they should. At the end, I mean, they contributed to the team. Even if they didn't play much, they were in that locker room. They supported their guys around them, and they were a factor, in my opinion.
No, I'll give that. They did contribute to getting the team to the position that they are. And I can't really say anything because I have a national championship ring from UCF whenever I was there for just a couple of games of the season. Yep. So, yeah, fun times. Whenever we come back from this break, we are going to have Casey White with us from Star Physical Therapy, talk to her about her time at Kentucky and what she's doing now in Nashville.
Are you tired of your current vehicle? Maybe looking for a new or pre-owned vehicle? Hey guys, it's Zach. Hayes Nissan of Rivergate is the best choice for your vehicle needs. Located at 1550 Gallatin Pike North in Madison, Hayes Nissan of Rivergate has been serving the Middle Tennessee community for over 3 decades. That gives you confidence that Hayes Nissan of Rivergate can find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and your budget. Their friendly and knowledgeable staff will make sure you are taken care of. I should know because I've seen it firsthand. Every vehicle I've purchased has been from Hayes Nissan of Rivergate, and I love the entire process. Now, I don't want you to forget about their award-winning parts and service department. It has everything you need to get you back on the road. Go visit them on the web at nissanofrivergate.com. They're open there 24/7, 365 days a year. Or give them a call at 615-865-7220. Again, that number is 615-865-7220. That's Hayes Nissan of Rivergate, where your dollar always goes farther.
Fill the halls with shouts of winning, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be giving, fa la 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 la. Instant games to friends and family, fa la 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 la. Join the joyous cash prize carol, fa la 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 la.
With top prizes up to $500,000, Holiday Instant Games from the Tennessee Lottery make grand gifts. Find them at your nearest Tennessee Lottery retailer today. Please play and gift responsibly. Are you suffering from bad gift giving? Look for the signs. Do people avoid eye contact when opening your gifts? When your friends say, you really shouldn't have, do they really mean you really shouldn't have? On more than one occasion, have you been re-gifted the same gift you gifted that person the year before? If so, the new Holiday Instant Games from the Tennessee Lottery might be right for you. Available now at your local retailer. The Tennessee Lottery, game-changing fun. Please play responsibly. Side effects include invitations to more parties and less awkward looks at gift exchanges.
Tired of the same old company holiday party and looking to reward your team with a fun night out? What about something different for a birthday party or group gathering? Hello, this is Philip Cox of Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers, and we specialize in group events no matter the size at our Tusculum, Donaldson, Hermitage, Murfreesboro, and Hendersonville locations. Plus, Hendersonville and Murfreesboro offer enhanced entertainment options with bumper cars, laser tag, roller skating, and more. 'Tis the season to have fun with family, friends, and business associates, and there's no better place to do it than at Strike and Spare Family and Fun Center. Visit strikeandspare.com to learn about the group outing of Strike and Spare, where fun is bowling.
Lieutenant, can you tell us what happened today?
Our officers responded to a crash on I-40 westbound this morning. The driver of a pickup truck lost control of the vehicle, veered left, and went into a ditch.
911, what's your emergency?
We've been in a crash. Please send someone. My fiancé is hurt.
A front seat passenger was wearing a seatbelt. She survived without injury. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. He died at the scene.
Law enforcement writes tickets to save lives. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Jim Rome is here weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR.
The SEC is for closers, and there's only one way to survive in the SEC, ABC. A always B, C, closing always be closing.
ABC,
A, always be B, C, closing. Always be closing.
Jim Rome, 11 to 2 on Nashville's original sports radio, WNSR.
Now, This Girl Can, featuring your local female athlete of the week.
Welcome back to Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. If you want to call in, talk to us. We finally had our first caller. Kenny the mailman, thanks for calling in. But I am very excited to be joined now by Casey White. She is the Green Hill Clinic Director. And Casey, how you doing this morning?
Doing good, Sammy. Thanks so much for having me on today.
Absolutely. I always get excited whenever it's the third Saturday of the month and somebody from Star Physical Therapy gets to come in and join me in studio and talk a little bit. So first off, I mentioned that you set a couple records at Kentucky. You were a swimmer, but who is Casey White?
Well, Casey White, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Family of 4 swimmers. So mom was a West Virginia swimmer. Dad swam for the Naval Academy. I was at Kentucky, and my sister has a ring from Minnesota, Big Ten champion. So it's pretty cool. Also come from family of physical therapists. So in the world of athletics, staying healthy is the name of the game. And that's part of why I'm a PT. But the love stems from my mom. She's been a physical therapist in our outpatient world, working with your average individual, getting back to their athletics, to some of your professional athletes. And so Kim Miller, she's the winner. She's the one who kept me healthy and grew my love for physical therapy.
And you mentioned it. She kept you healthy. So what did she really do? Whenever we talked earlier this week, you said that she was pretty adamant about trying to help prevent injuries while you were a swimmer.
Right. So as we've moved in the physical therapy world from treating injuries, we've also started to move into the prevention world. And so we all know about the words cross-training and, staying strong and doing all this cardio stuff. If you're, so if you're a swimmer, you'll do land-based sports or land-based activities. And so we weren't in the weight room. She wasn't hardcore. But what she did do is she said, hey, you use so much of the front half of you. We've got to keep you strong on the backside. So meaning you've got to be on your stomach. You've got to be working middle trap, lower trap, all of those shoulder blade muscles that keep you easy on your recovery of swimming.
And you just mentioned that your entire family basically swam. And we asked you earlier in the week, who was the best swimmer out of the family?
And as I told you, that's always loaded. Definitely had some moments where, I was a little embarrassed that I was outdone by my little sister in high school. Our last name's Miller, and so with swimming you have relays. And we had what we called Miller time, and that was when we started the relay and ended the relay. So there are definitely some special moments having a sibling that's, within the same age group and things like that to compete with. Corey outdid me in high school, but I will tell you, college was a wonderful time for me. Kentucky was the perfect fit. The teammates were amazing, and then I just continued to progress. And so instead of getting burnt out like so many of us do, I enjoyed every single year of it. So I might have come out on top, but life still goes on.
And you said you still love it. You still work with the Nashville Aquatic Club. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's go back to the prevention side of it, though. With swimming, what injuries do you really see a lot of?
Well, swimming is a young man's sport or young woman's sport, right? So you're watching these children become young adults and then progress into their whole, skeletal structure. So a lot of times we have those growing pains, and you have these long bones growing, and everything else hasn't caught up. So we've got to get posture. We've got to get all of those core muscles going. And so that's where you do your prevention, is you say, I know you're growing. I know things are a little bit weak. Let's get you, good to take on all of these repetitive movement patterns. And it's so important. Shoulders are huge, but back is also key.
And whenever you're talking about the shoulder and the back, it's the posterior, correct? So kind of what are some of those injuries that happen to those?
So with a repetitive sport, you're going to see a lot of tendonitis, and unfortunately that can progress into a tendinosis and is a longer recovery. So we do see a lot of shoulder injuries. You think about your rotator cuff, your bicep tendon, things like that sit mainly in the anterior aspect of the shoulder where they attach. And then the other part, the back. And so when you think about the back, we hurt in our back, but the part is we need our whole core to support the low back. And so it is, part of those, quote, six-pack muscles, but it's also, everything else that surrounds it. You want to be solid through the whole core. So not just your back, not just your front. You got to get it all.
And with it being a non-weight bearing sport, how do you really battle that?
Good question. So I was lucky enough to be part of a study in college that looked at non-weight bearing athletes and their skeletal structure as compared to weight bearing athletes. I had a trainer that, we just became part of her study, but willingly. And I found out that I already had osteopenia, or maybe just never had fully developed because I was non-weight bearing as, my main form of exercise. And so what they do is they put you in weight bearing, and so they know so much more. I mean, I've only been out 13 years, but yet these programs at these high school levels are better now. So they're doing some jogging, they're doing some weightlifting, and they're not going crazy. Nobody's throwing bars up overhead doing Olympic lifts, maxing out. But they are in the gym, and they are weight bearing, so they're preventing some of these skeletal issues that may come down the road, because if you're not sound, you're going to end up with more injuries.
And you had mentioned Michael Phelps and Katie Ledecky, some weight programs that they did. You kind of studied those as well whenever you were in college, right?
So with any sport, you have your big names. Michael Phelps, huge name in swimming. Katie Ledecky, another huge name. She's actually trying out, of course, for her 4th Olympics. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so the question is, these athletes have clearly stayed healthy through most of their careers. And so they're always interviewed, what is the trick? What is the reason you're so good? They're also just really talented, right? But they do things that some of the other athletes weren't doing. They were in the weight room. They were doing yoga programs, things like that. And all of a sudden you go, okay, that could be a little bit of the magic sauce.
Yeah. And whenever you have swimmers and you look at them, the bone density is different for swimmers, correct? And how do you really battle that lower bone density?
So it's probably like anybody else that has a lower bone density. So unfortunately, we find it a lot in Caucasian women. The lower their weight, the higher prevalence we see it. So about 120 is that cutoff where you start looking at it. And so good news, swimmers are normally tall individuals, so 120 is not our problem. But you're going to treat it with making sure that these people have good iron levels. So we were always tested for our iron. And you're also looking to see, should you be on some type of calcium, vitamin D supplement? Good news, on campus, you have to walk outside, so you'll get some vitamin D. Kentucky has some, nice sunny days. But then you do start putting them in programs to make sure they don't progress, they don't end up with osteoporosis and things like that that'll affect them later in life.
You said that it has some sunny days. I've worked some Kentucky games, and I swear that's the coldest stadium I have ever worked in.
My husband and I were actually back in Kentucky for the first time back in September, and I'm trying to remember who we watched in football, but we won Youngstown State, and it was a beautiful day, but we were so glad we were in the sun. It would have been, it can get chilly real quick.
Yeah, that stadium gets very, very cold very quickly. But going back to just how do you really, if you work with the Nashville Aquatic Club, but you really work with them on a different side of it, correct?
Right. I will never claim to be a coach. That is not my strength. But I absolutely know what they're going through movement-wise. So physical therapists, we are the mechanics of the human body. We know what you're doing. And then you add a sport to it, it's a whole other layer. So being a swimmer and going through, some recoveries, it's one of those things where I can use my knowledge base that I learned and then the skills that I had to better keep them healthy. So I show up Tuesday, Thursdays at the pool and walk over to the coaches with the intent of trying not to pull people out of the water. And I think I've done this for 2.5, 3 years. No, it's been pre-pandemic. So maybe 4 or 5 years. And the kids have begun to know me. And so they'll just say, hey, can I talk to Casey? And so I saw somebody where I believe he had something going on from studying. And so talk about some neck stuff, some posture stuff, and try to keep them in the water. Seen some knees because you have, when you do breaststroke, you've got that big whip kick. And so you've got to keep that kneecap, sitting in the right spot or it rubs. But I just go and I check them out and I try to get them right back in the water. And it's wonderful to build that relationship where they know I have no intention of taking your athletes and holding them out or letting, they're not going to regress because they've hopped up and asked me a few questions. They won't end up in the clinic unless I think that's absolutely where they need to be, which means that if I do say that, they're really receptive.
And how did that come about?
the head coach for Nashville Aquatic Club had a really good friend who was a PT, and it wasn't me. But as that PT retired out, they needed somebody else. They had just developed this relationship and realized how much it benefited their athletes. And so because that person worked for Star, my boss was like, hey, what do you think about this? And, here all of my friends and all of my coaches said, swimmers always come back to the sport. And I thought, well, not me. But here I am going to the pool on Tuesdays and Thursdays and rejoining that swimming world in a capacity I feel very comfortable with.
Yeah, and you're even grooming a couple of other swimmers in your family.
Right.
Trying to keep the family tree going.
So I have a 4 and a 6-year-old. My daughter is 6, and she will be swimming 3 times a week come January because she loves it. Warms my heart, and I think, oh no, all of our family holidays, we are going to start being at the pool. My son, on the other hand, I would joke that he's a talented swimmer. He's your typical little boy, and so when we put him in swim lessons, he loves the water. He does not love the instruction, so he's on a little hiatus from lessons, but he'll go play.
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned whenever on holidays, going to be at the pool, and that's another part of whenever you were at Kentucky. We talked a little bit about whenever you would come home from break, it wasn't, okay, I got to go spend time with family. It's where am I going to find a pool to practice? And kind of that mentality. I just found that part of it really interesting because you really, it is not the same as any other sport. You have a certain area, and it's only one area you can go to practice. It's not like you can just go run to keep up with your, to keep fit throughout the break. Yeah. It's very different.
Yeah, it's tough, and every swimmer will tell you about it. We look for all the pools. So if you have a YMCA in the area, you have a local high school, we're always looking to see where are we going to get in our practice because, like you said, when you go to family, you may have had a phenomenal team that you grew up with, and I was lucky to have that. But we also went to Pennsylvania, which is not where I grew up, for Thanksgiving, and I had to find these places that would allow me to come in and swim because a pool has specific times. So you have to find the pool, find the time that's going to work where it's open swim, possibly share a lane with somebody who may not be working at a Division I level, and then fit in all of the family holiday stuff. So once again, wonderful reason to have a sister who's in swimming. Because, not only was I looking for a place to swim, she was. And you just don't want to lose the feel for the water. And you think, I got to get out there. So it was worth it.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you joining me today, Casey. And we're definitely going to have you on again. Again, Casey White, the Green Hill Clinic Director for Star Physical Therapy. And thank you again so much. And Star Physical Therapy for being a wonderful sponsor of this show. Whenever we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more ball in the Strike and Spare studio. Stick with us.
The FanDuel Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up and use the promo code BKING. Combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. With live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started. And when you win, you get your money really fast. It's a safe app. It's easy to download and super easy to use. Sign up today. Use that promo code BKING for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code BKING. Must be at least 21. Present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems? Call the Tennessee Red Line. 800-889-9789.
Are you in trouble with the IRS? Detaxify is the trusted tax relief solution that has an A+ rating with the BBB, 5-star rating from Google, and specializes in the IRS Fresh Start program.
If you have years of unfiled back tax returns or owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, the government has the power to garnish your wages, freeze your bank account, and in some cases, they can now revoke your passport. This is John Zandy, president of Detaxify. Detaxify specializes in the Fresh Start program where we help struggling taxpayers get out of collections or settle their tax debt. If you're being audited or dealing with threatening letters from the government, you may need professional tax relief representation. My team at Detaxify can stop the tax collectors and stop the threatening letters from the IRS or state. Call me now for a free consultation.
Call now, 800-601-7780. That's 800-601-7780. Detaxify offers a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. Call now, 800-601-7780. 800-601-7780.
With 13 locations nationally, including Smyrna, Star Leasing Company is a semi-trailer one-stop shop and the perfect place to build a career as a semi-trailer mechanic. Seeking candidates with all levels of experience, Star Leasing Company has a semi-trailer technician trainee program with sign-on and quarterly bonuses and other opportunities such as $1,000 for having a yearly physical. The package also includes 401k with company match, health, dental, and vision insurance, competitive pay with weekly paychecks, and paid holidays and time off. Star Leasing Company, not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. Visit starleasing.com to learn more.
Slim's Tender Mac Bowls are back. We start with a 3-cheese blend to make our delicious mac and top it with chopped hand-breaded tenders and Colby Jack cheese. Try the Tender Mac Bowl meal or the Buffalo Tender Mac Bowl meal, both served with Texas toast and a medium drink. But hurry, they're only around for a limited time. Download the Slim Chickens app to order and earn rewards.
It's a Bill King Show.
Lake Norman Buckeye. Bill will Saban actually coach that 24 quarterback. At some point, he's got to hang it up. Nothing lasts forever. I want to repeat, Nick Saban is doing his favorite thing right now. He's not trying to get to a moment in life to where he can go sit on the beach.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
And now it's time to shine the spotlight on this week's coach or player. From college to the pros, this is Shattered Ceilings.
Welcome back to Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. I'm Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. If you want to call in, talk to us on the Cure Hotline, 615-844-5600. Again, that's 615-844-5600. And I want to just say thank you again to Star Physical Therapy to coming in studio again today. Love having them on third Saturday of the month, every single month. Star Physical Therapy is the official therapy office of Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. Devlin, how you feeling over there? You wanted to take a nap today. You had a little bit of a break there.
Yeah, I'll fit one in today for sure, no doubt about it. I got a little bit before football starts. I'm really not too worried about watching the Cincinnati game, so I can just sleep right through that and wait for some NFL to start.
Yeah, you got 3 NFL games today. First Saturday, you got the 3 NFL games. How excited. You got your alma mater playing in college, but you also got your pro team playing.
Yeah, more excited about that. I shouldn't be. Should not be excited to watch the Browns play. I absolutely hate watching that team play. But they're unfortunately my favorite team, so I can't really turn back now.
You know my feelings on the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with this being a women in sports show.
We have similar feelings. I've said it so many times, and the Browns are my favorite team, and that's just because of the way I was raised and the people that I grew up around. But my least favorite team in the NFL by far is the Cleveland Browns. I hate that team so much.
Just give you so much disappointment.
Oh my gosh!
How do you think they do today, though?
Well, seeing as though it doesn't matter. The Browns have a 0.04% chance of making the playoffs. I think this season, we can just go ahead and throw the white flag out. But I'm hoping we get a win here. The Ravens really don't have much on offense right now. Lamar Jackson's out. And then aside from Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews needs Lamar Jackson to produce the numbers that he was producing in those first 4 weeks. J.K. Dobbins is healthy and he's back. I imagine he takes most of the work in this game. Also, the Browns have an absolutely terrible rushing defense. So I would imagine it's close, but it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a close game. But I could see I'm hoping the Browns win. You know, obviously they're favored in this one, and I truly think that's because of the Ravens' offense is just really bad. They don't really have much going on there for them. But you know, who cares? You can get a ticket to that game as low as like $7 right now, by the way.
Wow.
And dropping.
So are they almost to the point that they're paying fans to come?
Almost, yeah. I'm pretty sure you can get like a beer in the stadium for less than it costs to get into the stadium. It's a shame.
You mean it's more expensive to buy the beer in the stadium?
Early, yeah.
We're getting there. BMU, beer in stadiums.
This is bad. This is really bad.
You know, today's not the day that you wanted me to have a cold.
Yeah.
Today's not the day.
Yeah, you needed to carry. You needed to carry the show today.
But they are favored by 3, so maybe your team will get the win. You have Ravens at the Browns. You have Colts against the Vikings and Dolphins against the Bills. Got my team playing today.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be snowing. Right now, they're predicting 9 inches during the game.
It'll be cold enough.
How fun is that, though, to play in the snow?
I'm sure if you're a player, it's awesome. And I'm sure if you're a fan of one of those cold weather teams, it's just as fun because typically they're wildly drunk for these games. You've got, obviously, the people in Green Bay who, I mean, if you look up, like, the top 10 drunkest cities in the United States, 7 of those top 10 are in Wisconsin. Yeah, they absolutely love that stuff. And I'm pretty sure the other 3 are in upstate New York. So, I mean...
Yeah. Well, if you look at Bills fans,
yeah,
they're wild.
Yeah,
absolutely wild.
I don't want to look at them. But they're in social media every single week. They're there.
You know, I like keeping up with them though because Gabe Davis was a player I worked very closely with at UCF. He's an absolute character, and so it's a lot of fun to see him have some success in the NFL. But Dolphins at the Bills, and I saw that Tua's. You know, I'm not a fan of the Alabama players.
Mm-hmm.
But his passer rating has gone up by, I want to say it was like 20% or something like that whenever playing in 60 degrees or warmer.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm real curious how he's going to play today. It's not looking too good for him. If you look at how it's been, how it's been in previous games, but should be a good one. Buffalo's favored, though, by a touchdown.
And I think that's for good reason. There's one team that loves playing in the cold, and the one team that loves playing in the cold and plays in the cold well is Buffalo Bills. I would say the Green Bay Packers, but they're pretty bad this year. So I'm going to go ahead and check them off that list now.
Well, hopefully it's a good one. That one is tonight at 7:15. You at least get to take a little bit of a nap, though, in between this show and watching your team play.
Yeah.
3:30.
Yeah, I'm glad that the Browns get to play on Saturday so that my Sunday is free of stress and worry and I can watch football in peace. That's my favorite thing. It's Thursday night football if the Browns play and then somehow get a Saturday game. That's the best for me.
Yeah.
Or bye week. That's even better. My favorite week.
It's your favorite week. You can't be disappointed. No, that's a good one.
Not a win or a loss.
You don't really care about the Titans, but how do you think Titans do?
Not good.
Looks a little dysfunctional.
They're awful. They're really bad.
Are you like hopping on Zach's bandwagon now?
No, I've always hated the Titans. I'm sorry.
No, I've never been a fan of the Titans either. But you were giving him a hard time on Wednesday.
They're just such a boring team to watch. I mean, like they're so unfun, and it's not even when they're winning. It's every single win that they have. It's like, I mean, that was not fun to watch at all. I did not have a good time watching that. I mean, maybe Derrick Henry goes off for a really good game, but even in that one game that he had like 250 yards in against Houston, they barely won that game. I think it was like 17-10, and Houston's awful. Yeah. I don't know. The one game that they had that was really fun to watch was the game against the Packers, but after that, that's it. They left it all on the field that week, and they have not brought it back, and they're not going to. Chargers by $1 billion.
Whenever you have changes with the staff, which with the firing of the GM, when do you think that it gives a positive impact? I personally do not think it ever gives a positive impact unless there's something like the Deshaun Watson, where there's like something really bad going on. I don't understand how that guy still has a job. I don't understand how he has a career.
Yeah.
But whenever it's coming to just not success, I think it does more harm when firing in the middle of a season.
Positive impact, I would say it comes whenever they hire somebody new that can change that program around. Obviously, firing John Robinson's not going to help or hurt the team. Well, obviously, it can't hurt the team if they've coming off that. I mean, I don't know. But positive, I think they're going to have to look for a new GM, and I think that can really change things around. If they can just have a really good draft, good offseason, that team is still in the fight for that division.
Absolutely. Well, we're up against a break. We'll be back, talk a little bit more ball. Whenever we come back, you're listening to Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid.
Hey guys, it's Zach. Give the gift of play with a team at Play It Again Sports in Brentwood and Hendersonville. Stop in and stock up on a huge selection of new and gently used gear and equipment. Their 12 Very Merry Holiday deal starts Tuesday, December 13th and runs through Saturday, December 24th. The sale features over 50 limited quantity hot buy specials and 12 unique daily deal specials, one per day. So if you're looking for that perfect gift for the sports enthusiasts in your life, then Play It Again Sports in Brentwood and Hendersonville has it all covered for you. If you have sports equipment you no longer use or doesn't fit, you can trade it in for either cash for holiday gifts or for store credit towards your next purchase. You can be like me and upgrade your golf bag. I'm always in the Hendersonville store checking out the used golf clubs they have there, trying to fix my game. Make sure you tell them your buddy Zach over here at Nashville Sports Radio sent you, and give the gift of play this holiday season with the good folks over at Play It Again Sports in Brentwood and Hendersonville.
Where can you save big on Black Friday and go big on the holidays? Lowe's, actually. Find the prices you'll love this season, like $100 savings on a Blackstone 30-inch flat-top grill, now only $299. And your choice of a DeWalt 20-volt max brushless drill kit or impact driver kit for $99. Plus, find gifts exclusively at Lowe's, like a Cobalt 24-volt 500 CFM leaf blower for $99. Black Friday is here. Don't miss the deals at Lowe's. Home to any possibility. Offer valid through 11/30 while supplies last.
Geico presents Daily Affirmations.
Repeat after me. We are filled with an abundance of joy.
We are filled with an abundance of joy.
Also an abundance of questions. Good thing Geico has 24/7 claim service to help answer questions and resolve claims quickly.
Good thing Geico has 24/7 claim service.
We are also filled with an abundance of biscuits.
We are also filled with I don't think it works this way.
Oh, and jam. Don't forget jam.
To manifest more Geico in your life, go to geico.com.
If you need a staycation or planning a trip to Music City, stay at Bento Living Chestnut Hill. Voted the best boutique hotel in Music City by the Nashville Scene. Bento Living is located on the edge of bustling downtown. And if you're looking for somewhere to host your holiday party, whether it's an intimate gathering or a corporate celebration, they have unique spaces to fit your holiday needs. Visit bentochestnuthill.com for more information and reservations.
Greg Pogue back once again to tell you about Bongo Java, Nashville's oldest and most celebrated coffee company, now also located in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Reward yourself for surviving Nashville traffic with fresh, locally roasted coffee, classic handcrafted espresso drinks, and fresh baked goods all day long. And free Wi-Fi, so you don't have to work from home. #1 in customer service. You made it through the traffic. Reward yourself with a perfect pick-me-up at Bongo Java. Fresh coffee, delicious treats, great atmosphere. Open 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. daily. Bongo Java at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
WNSR Nashville Sports Radio would like to take this time to say congratulations to Greg Pogue. Greg is a member of the 2023 class of the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame. Greg Pogue has been a standard and staple of Nashville sports media. Congratulations to Greg Pogue and the rest of the 2023 class of the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame. From your friends and family at WNSR Nashville Sports Radio. We're checking out the headlines, the highlights, and the stories from the world of women's athletics. Time to go around the hour.
Welcome back into Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid. I'm Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. hanging out with Devlin McKenzie. We had Casey White, the Green Hills Clinic director, in studio with us earlier. It's been a fun morning having somebody back in the studio with us. I'd say it was a fun morning. Would you say a fun morning, Devlin?
Nice to have some company, yeah.
Nice to have some company.
I mean, obviously, I can't get enough of you and Greg every single weekend, obviously.
Got quite the personalities coming in on Saturday mornings.
New faces aren't bad.
New faces are always fun, especially whenever they're from Star Physical Therapy, the official therapy office of Power Hour. Devlin, right before that, I was talking about changes with staff. How can it positively impact a team? Right now, you got some bowl games going on where you got coaches coaching that they've already taken jobs. You got one today with Deion Sanders. It's the HBCU championship game. Jackson State taking on NC Central.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that impacts the team whenever the coach has already left, but yet they come back to coach that one final game?
Deion's a great coach. Excuse me. I think maybe whenever the announcement first happened, it was one of those things that he sat down with his players at Jackson State and made that announcement to them. And I'm sure he made it very clear to them that this year he was still all in on Jackson State. I'm sure he left no question in that locker room where his priorities were at for the rest of the season. So for Deion Sanders, I don't think it's much of an issue with that team. I think everybody's in the right headspace in that locker room heading into this game. I could obviously be wrong. It's not really something I've ever had any experience with, but Deion just seems like the type of coach that would really set things straight right off the jump with that team.
Yeah, I mean, I witnessed it whenever I was at UCF. I was there for the Battle of I-4. You got the game against USF, and then it was the AAC championship game, and it was announced during the game that he had taken the Nebraska job. Scott Frost had taken the Nebraska job, and he still came back and coached the Peach Bowl. And Scott Frost is very much so a player's coach. Those players absolutely loved Scott Frost.
Mm-hmm.
It was still so awkward, though, whenever he came back for that week to coach leading up to the bowl game, because you already had Josh Heupel there.
Mm-hmm.
But Scott Frost still had his office, the head coach office. He didn't move out of that until after the Peach Bowl. And it was just such an awkward, the vibe around it all. That's why I just find it, after witnessing that, where you have a guy that is a player's coach,
mm-hmm.
and you have the team bought in. I mean, they still obviously won that game. They got the job done, but it was still just so awkward. And it's so, whenever you're trying to focus in, and we were talking earlier about how bowls are, that Peach Bowl was a ton of fun. We did the Andretti racing, and there's the games all throughout that you can play in the billiards, whatever, lounge, and it was a lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun, and it's a time to celebrate, but how do you keep the team focused when there's just so much noise?
And I think the awkwardness and that eerie feeling after something like that is inevitable, right? I mean, I'm sure it happened with every single coaching move that you're like that exact scenario. I'm sure it's happened everywhere. But I think it's up to the coach to fix that. I mean, if you're a coach, it's just going to be like, yeah, this happened. Let's go out there and play. This is still my team. And that's all you have to say. No one's going to want to play for you. Nobody.
Right.
I'm not going to want to play for you. I could care less. You don't care about this team. Go to your new team. I don't care. But I think it's really just up to that coach to step into the locker room and be like, hey, listen, like, I'm here this year. This is where I'm at. This is I love this team, and I'm gonna fight for this team and come out here and try to win this bowl game with you guys. I know I took that job, whatever, but at the end of the day, this is where I'm at right now. My priorities are here. Let's not worry about next year. Let's worry about what's going on this week. And I think that it's up to the coach to really clear things up, because you're right, there is gonna be that awkward feeling. But sure, you got to fix it as the coach.
Yeah, but I think after working quite a few TSU games, and Eddie is another one, that big personality, and there was a lot of just talks whenever you're talking about Eddie George and Deion Sanders, and Deion just seems like that dude. And everyone was just, whenever I was doing a lot of TSU games, that's one thing they would always talk about with Jackson State, and just how he carried himself as a head coach and moving into that role. He just really seems like a dude, a really cool dude to be around.
Okay, I mean, being honest with myself here, if I'm in that Jackson State locker room at the beginning of the season, that first season that Deion Sanders takes over, I have the feeling in my head already that he's not going to be here forever.
You have to know that it's a stepping stone.
I mean, come on. Okay, so they're still fired up being with Coach Prime every single week, knowing good and well that he's eventually going to leave. And this announcement, I'm sure it came as a surprise for, people, players all over the nation. But at the end of the day, this was all part of the plan. This was part of the process. This is what Deion Sanders wanted to do. So, if you're in the locker room, there's just that thought in the back of my head if I'm in there that's saying, like, all right, well, I can't say I was expecting this guy to be here forever. It's Deion Sanders, and I'm sure he had other goals, in the future around Power 5 schools and the FBS. So, it's all right. I imagine he's still going to have that team fired up for this game. So, but yeah, I mean, that was inevitable, and I think the kids in that locker room should know that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the best time of the year. You got all the bowl games, you got the coaching carousel going on, and then you also have signing day next week, starting early signing period starting on the 21st. So it's gonna be a fun day, though. You can go take your nap. That music's probably just like music to your ears.
Oh, it sure is, literally, and it's calling my name.
It's calling your name. You can go take your nap, watch some college games, some pro games later today too. Thanks for joining us on Power Hour with Sammy Kincaid in the Strike and Spare studio. We'll see you next week.